Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Take It to the Max show. Sorry for being a little late. We had some technical issues, probably because of my birthday yesterday. So I'm 51 years old and trying to play everyone in the pool. It's hard. It's hard. Oh boy, but I'm gonna try. Obviously, the interesting thing is going to be how I hold up my #1 ranking in the 5-minute pool. I can't even believe I have it, considering that it is a bit difficult to play while commenting on the games, but I guess it's just luck. Anyway, we'll see if it is as the games start. Meanwhile, my biggest congratulations to Wesley Saw for winning the Tata Steel tournament outright by a full point over Magnus Carlsen. Who actually managed to persevere and stay in second place because his closest rivals just lost their games, Aronian and Wei. So that was something. And of course, I think Wesley Saw now #2 in live ratings is probably going to be the next challenger, in my opinion, to for the crown. Although, of course, Fabiano is a close second, I think Wesley has a lot of chances there. Okay, so let's see where the action takes us, and where are the 5-minute players at this time, trying to battle with me in the 5-minute pool. Okay, well, one of them, it will show up certainly very soon. I remember when during the Kariaki and Carlsen match, it was taking a while, and then they just kept coming and coming and coming, and most of them were grandmasters. So as soon as they get a whiff that I'm about to be playing with serious handicap, they'll probably come in. Meanwhile, what I can tell you is that we have a National Master Spirals trying out the closed Sicilian. And there we go. Very quick on the take there. I don't like the move knight f3. I think that gives some flexibility to block. Okay, interesting. Okay, now I can probably put my knight on d4. That will do some wonders, and just castle away. All right, now I guess it looks like f5 is timely at this point. Well, then maybe... Yeah, then wait, can I play d5 or too early, right? Knight f5, bishop f5, gf. Okay, gf, here's the move. Here's the magical move, gf. Knight d5. Okay, well, that probably needs to be exchanged off. And maybe I should have played bishop e6, so I can do that next move. I don't know. White plays c3. Now I will maneuver my knight to e7 to oust that ridiculous bishop on d5. Suppose I could play queen f3, but then maybe f4 is interesting. Okay, well then, okay, now let's get this. Well, actually, what should I play? Knight e7, bishop g2, and then knight g6. Is that any good? White is playing a mean game here, but still looks like knight e7 should be played. The bishop is just too strong there. All right, and now what? I can sack a pawn with bishop e6. Bishop e6 is interesting. I'll just play rook b8 for now. Why sack if you don't have to, right? Just defend my pawn so I can move my bishop. If white attacks on e5, I can always play knight g6. Of course, then white can attack on h4, but then I can take on f4 and probably have a reasonable position. Okay, here it is. The d3 pawn is a target now, of sorts. Yeah. Now, bishop e6, probably thinking about e4, or should I move my queen to move my knight? The queen could only go to d7. No, that's just too much. Too much of something I don't want to have. This way, if white attacks the e5 pawn, I can play e4. Complicated, but I think reasonable. Once I play e4, then I'll be able to do many things. Although the position is just very, very complicated. Knight e5, bishop e5, rook e1, bishop f6, bishop f6, rook f6, for example. Just barely surviving. Ah, that's a good move. Now e4 doesn't work. Oh boy, oh boy. That's a move that I didn't think of. E4 just doesn't work. It's just a bad case of... So now I have to take the knight. I have no choice. And okay, now actually not much is threatened. So I can play e4, but I don't have to, right? Could just move my queen to some nice hideaway square. Although I don't really understand how I'm going to function without e4. The problem with e4 is white may play g4 and undermine my pawns over there, which I don't really want to see. So, not that great a position. Somehow I did not even equalize. Okay, well, now I did. Now I equalized. That was not a good move. The bishop is definitely worth more than the knight there, but fine. Queen h5. Okay, now I can defend with queen f7. Because what else do I really want to do here? Do I want to play queen e6, bishop d5, queen g6? Maybe that's a better deal. And if bishop h3, then what's the move? Nothing, right? Then I'll be lost. So I better play queen f7 here. And go into descending. Yes, not too much in descending for either side. But okay, I can hope for some endgame mistakes from my opponent, who so far has shown reasonable middle game play in a complicated position. So, well done. Spirals. I like bishop d5 here. And g4. Okay. Well, that's going to give me connected pass pawns, which white can block, but still, once unblocked, they could present some issue. All right. Where should my rook move? Probably somewhere interesting. I have some ideas with rook f6. No time either. All right, let's not play for a win then. Yet. Let's win some time first and then see if we can play for a win. So that's a safety move at b6. I'm deciding not to play for a win for a little bit. Of course, I'm always playing for a win just in case, but for now, I don't see where that winning possibility is coming from. Let's just create a way to the g7 situation. Rook g7 and h5 potentially. Okay, let's go rook g7. This is very well played by white. I'm actually suffocating a bit here. Wow. I don't like my position at all. Okay, time to move my king out, I think. Somewhere. This is not good. All right. Let's go out with my king. I really need to trade a pair of rooks. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that right now. Right now, one of these days, bishop e7 and rook d8. How does that work? Grab that one. Okay. Back. Okay, that takes off a lot of the problems, I think. My rook can now go to h3 and e3, perhaps. All right, let's see. I want to run away. I don't like my king up there. Okay. Interesting. And here I am. All right. Let's block. Come back. Okay, there's going to be something going on with the time factor, I think. All right, got a pawn out of this. Got a rook out of, oh, my opponent just couldn't take it. Okay, couldn't take the time factor, but you know, this was not a very good game for me, as you can see. Where did I go wrong? I don't know. I like what I'm doing here, but this knight d2 move got me really in some issues. I think knight d4 is maybe a little bit of an early move. Knight c4. White's playing very well. And f5 I think is too early. I think I should have played bishop e6. I didn't like knight e3, but I think then f5 is okay. Because even after takes, even if I lose this pawn, I think this will give me a good counterplay here. For example, knight d5, f3. And, you know, with a bishop like that, you can't, well, even if white takes first, right? And with a bishop like that, you can't really survive this position. I mean, I think this is just very dangerous for white. So I think this was a big problem, but anyway. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see. So, yeah, so as I'm saying here, this is a big mistake. And pawn takes pawn was maybe not the best. Even bishop g5, pushing some pressure on this would be pretty strong. Okay, here maybe I think I should have sacrificed the pawn. I was thinking about it, because after bishop takes pawn, rook b8, bishop g2, d5, knight e3, I was a little worried that this is not enough. Now that I think of it, I mean, look at the two knights. They can't go anywhere. The bishop can't develop. I think this would be fine for me. Anyway, this did not happen, and I got into big trouble. That later could have been quite bad for me. Okay, my opponent's playing sort of the main line of the London system, I guess. And now, let me think what happens. Bishop b5, the bishop d3 is another move, of course. Okay, let's take this and reach out to these weaknesses. Black is playing very fast. That's exactly how the game Carlsen and Anand went in the World Blitz Championship. That game lasted 22-24 moves, and Anand lost. Let's see if Black has a novelty or a new idea here. I'm not sure that that's really gonna appear here, but okay. I've actually had this position before. Yeah, this is nice. I think white can just play queen a3 here. And I think there are big problems after queen a3, fair for white. The dark squares are problematic. Knight d7. Okay. I suppose I can just castle, although it's very tempting to try to do something on the king side. But now I've stopped Black's attempts to push c5. a5 is also not very good because I can just take with a knight, or even with a queen. But I don't know, I think it's the same position, right? Whether I take with a knight or the queen, I'm a pawn up. So I'm going to just take with the queen to make it simple. And take with the pawn. I take the pawn. And now exchange bishops, I mean rooks, that is. A pawn is a pawn after all, and that's a nice pass pawn. And that's an extra pawn that I got for free, right out of the gates. Okay, that's a blunder, unfortunately for Black. And the game should not last too much longer. And, well, I mean, what can I say about this position? This is a dangerous position for Black because these dark squares are controlled by White from many different angles. Sorry, I drew that line wrong. And really, it's hard to solve that issue. A number of people tried. I actually had a tournament game that went like this against a 2300 youngster that couldn't solve the problem. So I think really the problems are quite serious. In the World Rapid Championships and World Blitz, Black has tried this move, knight e7, but also didn't really solve the problem. So I don't know. I mean, I can't say that Black has a simple way to equality, although of course chess is a very interesting game, and I'm sure that there are reasonable possibilities around if you open your eyes and think objectively. But in this game, my opponent just surrendered the pawn basically, because it's very easy to think that you can get counterplay, but really this move was a pawn down. Oh, but if White doesn't do that, I'm just going to surround this pawn very quickly, and Black is in trouble, positional trouble. My queen can also come here. This is what Magnus did after his rook hit c1. It was really very bad for Black. In this position, of course, Black doesn't have to blunder, but even after the best, let's say rook takes, probably Black has to take care of this square with f6, but I just start pushing. King f7, because you can't really play rook c8, knight e7 check, and then just keep pushing. Let's say on rook c8, I can play knight b4, hit the bishop. Let's say the bishop moves somewhere. I can just start moving my knight, and let's say rook a8. I can hit the bishop first, and then just rook a1, so that the rook can't be hit, the knight can't hit me. Knight b8. I like knight b3, king e7, knight c5. You have a very nice endgame, which, okay, it still needs to be won, but I think the position is quite dangerous for Black. So not really surprising that my opponent got upset and basically just blundered his rook with his, well, exchange or whatever. Bishop, I guess, whole bishop, knight b4. And of course now the bishop can't even save itself because I'll just take the bishop, not the rook. So my opponent resigned, which is logical. As we're looking at this, let's see, what are we expecting in the next few rounds from Gibraltar? Okay, we have a very strong opponent from Russia, Sparnalik, whatever it is, Sparnalik. I think we played a lot of games before. And look at his quickness with the mouse. Okay, he goes bishop e3. Bishop c4. I'm not sure about that move, because I think bishop e6 is fine. Let's do that. Bishop d5, okay. And now we'll just cancel. Okay, what's a good response to that? Let's try to move that knight from a4. And just move that knight from b3 quickly. Okay, here I can probably take already on d5, or maybe, because on queen a5 there's knight c4, which is unpleasant. So let's take this guy. And now, where should I move my knight? d4 is a possibility, right? From there it can hit f5, which isn't too shabby, because that will hit the bishop, and that I really like. Also rook a5 or queen a5. Okay, white's trying to get rid of that one. Okay. Knight f5 is a distinct possibility, knight f5. I'm going to go for that. I think if I can grab that bishop, it should be quite good for me. And now we have the boomerang tactic, that I think works reasonably well here. My favorite boomerang tactic, the knight hits back on e7. If white takes, of course, white's going to take on d5 somehow. But that does win me pawn, which I can, of course, hoard in a nice way and hopefully convert into a win one day. That was the idea of knight f5, of course, to allow white to play bishop g5. Otherwise, bishop g5 would be positionally quite reasonable move. So I was actually expecting moves like bishop d2, but then after rook a5, I didn't really see how white's going to defend or inflict any danger on me and defend the d pawn. Although there were some things going on, I don't know. Anyway, white will have compensation. White can even take on d5 and b7, although rook b8 is going to be dangerous then. So let's see. Okay, h4. White is going for g4 and so forth. If I... So I can't take on h4, I don't think. Check on a5 is interesting, so that my bishop can go directly to d8. I think that's a nice idea. I'm gonna check on d5. Maybe even knight d4 in some cases, if white doesn't move the knight back. Okay, but I have knight d4 here. Knight d4 is bad, right? Because hg and I lose a piece. So I have to move my bishop now. Let's go bishop all the way to d8. No reason to give white things to attack. Knight g5, how does that work? Now if I play h6, wait, what if I play knight h4? Queen h5, right? That looks dangerous. No, queen h5, bishop g5 wins. Knight h4, how does that work? Knight h7, king h7. Okay, knight h4 doesn't look bad, I have to say. I'm gonna do it. I mean, there were other moves, of course. You know, even knight d4 was quite a serious attempt to improve the position. But I'm like Victor Korchnoi in some ways. I like to take pawns if I can. If I don't see a reason not to take some material, I will take it, of course. And knight g2 is a nice threat. Bishop g5 is a nice threat. The knight on d5 is, holding by. Okay, and yes. So now, okay, now I didn't think of. I thought I'll just take. How does that work? Just that. Okay, I did not see that idea of how it works. Let's see. So white wants to take twice. I need to bring in some reserves here quickly. Queen c5 takes on h4, takes. f6. Dangerous stuff. Okay, rook e6, rook e6, rook 8, rook e6 then. Okay, this is my best chance, I think, to defend. Although, I don't know. A little scary. I think my opponent found something quite good. Now, though, I can play knight g6. This is one interesting aspect of it that I just noticed. I have to say, like on g3, I think knight g6, and oh no, I get mated. What am I talking about? I can't play knight g6. g4. Oh my god, that's to play g5. Play g5. Wow, this is a cool game. Rook e6, g5. Bishop g5. Knight g6. I probably get mated. Where's my defense? What if I play g5 myself? I think I have to do that. Although this looks very scary. Takes on g5. Rook e6. Still alive. Don't know. Very scary. But rook e6 is coming. Okay, this one I have to take. No questions about that one. That may help me a bit with rook e5. Okay, what if I take and... Where's the mate if I take and take on d5? There's a mate. There is mate on that. But I could play rook e5 instead. Oh, okay, this is just resigning. Okay, then that's fine. That's just resigning. Okay, white's just resigning. That's fine. Resigning I can accept. I can accept resigning all day long. Take the queen, take the pawn. No. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Okay, he's trying to win some time. That's not gonna work. That's not really gonna work against me. I don't know. Some people it could work against. Against me, it's not gonna work. And goodbye. Goodbye, my friend. It's not gonna work against me. I told you, told you, told you. And goodbye. Tough game. I have no idea if I was mated. Looked like it. Looked like I should have been mated there. Really. It looked very, very scary at some point around here when I started coming up with some ridiculous defenses. So let's see. So this is showing this is the best move, I think. Yeah, so rook h4, bishop h4, I thought queen h4, and queen d8. That was my extra, no, not rook e6, queen d8, I thought. That was my tempo. And if the queen sticks around, then rook e6. So that was, well, is that my, I think that's my opponent actually analyzing. That's weird. Wow. Yeah, my opponent is analyzing this, but I'm not. I don't know why we have that situation. Okay, well, so after castles, rook e8, I think is the only move. g4, and I think I came up with the only real response here, g5. And I think I'm okay here, although it looked very, very scary. f4 just takes, and rook e1 just rook e5. And I think the position is gone at that point. So my opponent's looking at 93, but I think that doesn't work. Rook h4, gf, g5, rook e6. Yeah, game over. Game over. Okay, we're having a nice joint analysis here, but as you can see, white does not have enough for the material. So strangely enough, my play was quite reasonable all along, although maybe knight h4 is a bit dangerous. All right, all our dear genius, I am. Good luck. See if I can hit 2700 after this game, if I can do it. No idea, of course. I don't even know why I'm not losing these games. Still functioning at 51, guys. Okay, lots of chances for you. If you're younger, don't give up on yourself. There's life after 50 in chess. A lot of life. You can become first in the 5-minute pool if you want. Okay, now this is interesting because I like to play e6 if I can, but I'm going to play rook d8 just to put some pressure on that d pawn early. Okay, now a6 because my queen is a bit lazy there on d6. Okay, now should I be afraid of? I don't think I should be afraid of bishop g5 here. Here I can take and play g6. Okay. On bishop f4 I have queen d5, tucking myself in nicely. So it should be okay for now. Okay, here I am. Of course, blocking. I'll try and block the d pawn as quickly as possible. And I think I have a good position, but of course I'm not sure. It's complicated. Not to mention that I've played this many times before, and still I'm not sure how these positions really work. I suppose I'm threatening knight b4, although that trade of the bishops may or may not be that, advantageous for me. But of course the question is, how does white start the attack here? Because, okay, this is the answer. So bishop g5 and knight d4, and then what? And then queen takes bishop and I lose, right? So it's a cool move. I guess white wants to play queen h4, but I could play knight b4, queen b7, knight c2, attacking the knight. If on knight e4, queen e4, queen d5, takes on e7, takes on e4, and bishop h4, and I don't like that position. So this is not good. Okay, if I just play knight a7, queen h4, h5. Not clear either. Kind of want to play some knight move, but I don't know where. Knight b4, queen b7, knight c2, knight e4. Why not queen d7 on that one? Let me do that. I like this idea. I really do like this idea of trying to exchange some pieces. Because really black's main plan is to exchange pieces against the isolated d pawn. So here I go, exchanging some pieces and threatening to take, I guess, the bishop on e7. Although, yeah, and actually the bishop on g and the knight on g5, queen f7 is not mate, as it turns out. But really the main threat is to try to exchange the queens, queen d7. Let white think. What are some of my other ideas, I guess? Otherwise, I just take if the bishop moves, then d4 is hit. Okay, this This is a cool move. Very cool move. Missed completely by me. Dark squares are in trouble on bishop takes knight. Although I suppose I could sacrifice an exchange and keep that position, but I don't feel like it, sacrificing an exchange. If knight takes bishop though, then I get mated in two moves. f6 also doesn't work. f5, queen h3, and then bishop takes g5 is maybe more appropriate. So I don't want white to play knight f4, knight e4. So it's either f5 or immediately bishop takes knight and then take on d4, queen somewhere like h3. Well, actually, where does the queen go? Queen has to defend some squares. Let me try this. This is actually looking quite interesting. I'm gonna try to play this crazy position here because knight e2 is a bit of a threat. Okay, now I have queen d5. That actually looks good. Yeah, that looks like it wins a pawn. I'm not that sure. Yeah. Now bishop f6 is coming, huh? That's going to be dangerous. Knight f3 gf, and there's no mate. Oh boy. I created a monster, I think. I'm going to sacrifice. What else can I do? So probably had to do something else. Not good what I did. Not good. Let's pre-move. All right, now this is a moment of truth. If I play some bad moves, I will lose. I think I have to go here. Play rook e6 quickly. Okay. Okay. Oh wait. Now I have to defend. Yes, I have to defend that one too, I guess. Let's go back. Knight f5 is maybe an idea. All right, knight f5. All right, let's get into descending. I think I have to start getting into the endings or I will be in trouble. Okay, take that. Take that. Oh, missed that one completely. That's not good. That was not a good pawn to miss. All right. Defend. Whew! That is bad stuff. That is bad stuff. This is looking very shocking. And bad for me. Oh no, I can't play f5. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. This is really, really bad. Well, that's how sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. This is checkmate on rook f7. Couldn't even play the right move. Okay, well, that was not surprising because actually I got into some trouble here and I couldn't really, this was the key position where I was making a decision. What should I have played? I played knight b4. I think maybe knight a5, queen h4 was another possibility, and h5. I was a little bit afraid of g4, but maybe that I shouldn't be afraid of that. I mean, g4, maybe I can come in this way, and actually the knight is still busy protecting the queen, so I think this doesn't work. And so my move was not good. I think there was some issues here. And then I took, queen e4, queen d5, queen e3. What did I miss now? Knight e2 check? Did I just miss knight e2 check? My god, queen e2, queen g5, goodbye, right? And of king h1, I just take the rook. Ay, ay, ay. I just missed knight e2 check. And in fact, I sacrificed an exchange just when I missed the winning move. That's quite sad. I didn't think the position was bad. I don't know why I didn't play f6. That was my plan. On f4, I just take. And it's not possible to take because of the check. So f4, I don't think white's ready for yet. If he goes rook c1, then I can try to defend all these entry squares. And okay, I mean it's a5, maybe play a4. Defend some stuff. There's some entry stuff, and I don't know. I think I should be trying to survive this anyway. I mean, this was just very, very bad. The way I played this was just horrible, and I think my opponent gave me too many chances afterwards because I played rook e6, rook d6, h4, h5, rook c1, rook e6, queen h6, rook e8, queen g5, knight f5. Okay, that was actually a mistake. I should have just continued to condense my position, make it more compact. That's a big point in chess, especially in blitz. Try to get your position more compact. And here, this was not a good endgame. And I completely missed that this move actually attacked the 6th rank. So the position's pretty lost here. And my opponent's doing very well. A good job of just hitting all the targets. And yeah. Now I just blundered my knight, although of course it doesn't really matter. Okay, well, let's see if I can come back and take a little revenge on my opponent here. Let's see how it goes. Maybe e5 was a good move here. Okay, d5. I don't know if I can even take this. Maybe. Well, let me just play d5 here. And knight f3. Okay. No problem. Especially since I didn't even have to ask the bishop to be taken, to take my knight. That looks like a good deal offhand. I think white should be better here. Very nice, very natural moves for me. Not so sure about black. All right, let's get rid of this bishop. No place for that bishop here. No place for hard-hitting targets like that. Grab that guy. And probably f4, right? Let's get it going. Now, should I play b4 or just continue with some attack, huh? Let's play rook b1 to prepare b4 a bit. I really want access to the d4 square, but I'd like to play 3 b4 if possible. Also, another thing is, yeah, I'm going to play 3 b4 since my opponent is obliging. Yeah, this is nice. This should be nice. Because if I take on c5, black will have to take with a queen, with a knight, but then queen d4 check on e5 puts his knight in a really precarious situation. Meanwhile, the b5 pawn is going to be hit. And if you think about it, White didn't play such a great game as he was losing quite quickly, so maybe I shouldn't be that worried about the strength of my opponent here. Okay, here's a check. And here I go. Advancing, advancing, advancing. That's the spirit. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Okay, well, e6 looks very tempting. I'll do it. I'll do it. I think on f5 I'll play g4, just trying to pry open black's position. Okay. Still f5. h4. Okay, let's see. How do we invade here? Okay, let's get a rook on the h file quickly. Step number 1. No, let's not trade queens. No queen trades yet. Yeah, I think queen g4. No queen trades. Now I'm going to think about queen h5 a bit to figure out if that mates. Queen h5. I think it mates. I'm going to go for it. I mean, okay, check, check, check. Pawn takes pawn is one move. I'm gonna do it. Rook h3 is a big threat, I have to say. There we go. And really don't want to close up the... I really don't want to close up the h file. So I want to go rook h1 and king g4 mate. But I also want to go queen h6 and g6 mate. Queen h7 will be mate then, right? So this is the second possibility, which I'm accepting here. And I think that's all. Yep, that's all. my opponent was convinced enough to give it up. Now, okay, I mean, I don't think the opening was so great, but I think if black is going here, he has to wait for me to play h3. I mean, there are so many moves, a6, knight d7. Why take? I'm not even going to d2 with my knight, so it does not make sense to take. Also, it doesn't make sense to attack the bishop to where I'm going to go anywhere. So there's some issues going on already in what white is doing, and I think black is doing. I mean, and I think white is already much better. And yeah, I could have just stopped black's advance, but I decided to pry open the queen side a bit to create some issues. And now this isn't very nice, I think. Takes, check, f5, f6 probably. And now on f5, I was going to just play g4, just to play bishop g4 and play f5 again. I think that's quite dangerous. Black decided to reposition himself, and now I'm just trying to open up the position, but this creates this weakness, which is very difficult. Now I didn't go queen g4 immediately because I didn't like queen e8 and trying to defend. So I wanted black to actually step out to b6 first. That was my plan. King h2, and now it's already very difficult for black. Maybe this move was the best trying to put the knight at least on a square like that. From here, it would defend g6, right? But still, even if I go queen d2, let's say knight, rook g3, I mean, this is a problem as well. King h7 takes now, right? And then just pry the position open with f6. I think that's pretty lost. Instead, black went in for what was it? Knight a4, and I think this is correct. The sacrificing of all these pieces is just going to win, because if knight takes bishop, which then it's just takes, check here, check again here, and pawn takes pawn, and no threat to rook h, no defense to rook h1, basically, just no defense. So black played something a bit funkier. Queen d4, but after check, pawn takes pawn, rook h3 is a huge threat. I mean, if black were to take this way, this would be the same exact thing, rook h3. And anyway, not good for white, for black. Okay, what should I play? d5, good move, right? c5, not too shabby. All right, let's take out white's center, see how that goes. Okay, both can play that game, I can see. Okay, without the center, the position is interesting. And here there are many moves. One of them, of course, is a6, but I like this move, bishop d7. I've always liked it, and I saw Peter Svidler take it up against Karyakin in the finals of the World Cup, but then he forgot his opening. I still remember mine. I don't know why. Yeah, this is not a good move. Knight b5, I don't think is a good move here. I think knight b5 makes more sense earlier, before you play e4. Here it doesn't make much sense. And here I'm going to play e4, and I'm going to wreck white's pawn structure quite easily here with a6. Because after a6, white will have to go knight a3. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, well, that's an attempt to basically not get punished as badly as white probably already deserves to, but knight a7 is not going to help, because I'm going to take and play bishop b4. That's just going to be very upsetting for white, hopefully. So there we go. And now I should be winning at least a pawn, right? With my threats of rook takes e3 and knight takes e4. Hard to even figure out what white's supposed to play on that, come to think of it. Okay, I can take on c3 and then on e4, then rook e1. So on knight e4, there's rook e1 anyway. Knight c3 takes bishop e6, and I take an. Oh yeah, this is nice. Knight takes e4 looks absolutely the best. I think I'm winning 2 pawns with this move. Knight takes knight. Bishop e6. Okay, now this is interesting because on bishop c3 I just noticed rook c5. Of course I can take on and take on a2, and that is 2 pawns. Okay, if I castle, it's not as clear. Okay, I better take, I guess, on c3. And here maybe I should castle. Threatening bishop d4, which wins a piece, which should prompt some motion from white, but I don't know which kind of motion is actually going to be survivable. Yeah, that actually does not survive because bishop d4 wins a piece, as I said. And so this is game over. Okay, let's see if we have time for one more game. Or rather, you know, let's maybe analyze this. Okay, so where's the game? There it is. So let's see what happened here. So, okay, this is all theory. This has been played before, of course, but now knight b5 is really a mistake. I think white should take and just play f3, and I've played this position hundreds of times. I think it's just equal, but at least it's a position that white is not worsen. I think here white's already in trouble. Already very difficult to actually figure out how to play this well. I think this one was really bad. White has to create an escape route for the knight. So for example, to bishop e3, knight a6, the knight can still go to d4. Although here there's this issue, knight g4, always an issue for white. So maybe knight a3, and I can play b5, I can play e6. In any case, black is doing quite well, but white may not be losing. After bishop f4, white may well be losing here. And this is well, this is actually the best move, because after knight a3, knight d4, I was going to play threatening bishop takes knight and knight c2 check. Let's say rook c1, b5. I mean, it's just attacking from every direction. White has to play something like knight b1. I mean, this is just very, very ugly. White's losing the e4 pawn already. So, okay, white played knight a7 and bishop b4. Now what white should have played, I think, is bishop d3 to protect the e4 pawn, just to say, okay, I lost my c pawn, but I do have some counter chances because I have 2 bishops. And I think this is how white should have played. I mean, bishop d3 is a tough move to find, but after rook c1, or rather, what did white do? Castles. After castles, it's just game over. Knight e4, there's no defense now. Knight c3 takes, bishop e6 takes, rook c5, and castles is the best move, I think. And now the threats are too many. Bishop d4 and bishop takes a2, and I'll be 2 pawns, 2 connected pawns up. Of course, this just loses, but even after rook c8, for example, king b1, bishop f5 is pretty much mate. If white comes back with a bishop, I just take, and obviously I'm attacking, plus I have 2 connectors, which is going to win the game. So this is not survivable, and so I think I kept on the top of the ladder, but I did screw up with this one game where I was winning and just started sacrificing left and right, losing it, although I did come back and beat Mr. Genius, LR Genius, with white in the following game. So this was Grandmaster Max Dlugy. Take it to the Max Show. Join me next week. I hope to be playing better in my at my young age. All the best to you, and have a good night. Bye-bye.